Himawari Uzumaki has officially put on that black mask, and she's got the black gloves on, and she's cut that Byakugan, and she's walked into Boruto 2 Blue Vortex asking a simple question: who wants to catch these Bijudamas? Because Chapter 30 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, it didn't just introduce a cute little prodigy, which you gotta hit the like button so Himawari will smile, and you don't want to make Himawari frown, so hit that like button. But instead, it introduced a problem, a child who casually was able to pick up both halves of Kurama, almost nuked the entire Hidden Leaf Village. She got scolded for it, and she shrugged, and guess what? She is still nowhere near her ceiling. And that's the part that I think people are missing right now. Himawari, she's rough, and she's also reckless, and she clearly needs more training. She needs more experience, but that's exactly why she is on track to become one of the most terrifying shinobi in this new era, and dare I say it, she might have the highest ceiling of any character not named Boruto. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where your OBC, your original Boruto chief, is going to be breaking down why Himawari, her growing pains, they aren't just a red flag, but instead they're a warning sign for everybody else in the Naruto universe. Also, the chapter drops on the 20th this month, and the review editor is working on the review right now, so we should be good to meet that release date. Might drop the review on the 19th. Hadn't made my mind up yet, but I thank you in advance for your patience and your understanding. Also, don't forget to check out my brand new all 14 domain expansions in Jujutsu Kaisen Explained video on my Anime Explained channel, which will be linked in the description box for Jujutsu Kaisen fans, since we have a brand new anime season airing, and I am super proud of the work on that video. So check that out if you're even remotely curious about Jujutsu Kaisen, because some of those domain expansions are extremely complex but easy to understand when you understand how they work. So let's just get into something much easier to understand, which is the problem with Himawari having too much power too soon, and why it's actually pretty brilliant. So that's like the elephant-sized chakra nuclear warhead in the room. Himawari, she has absolutely absurd attack potency. Not the, oh, she's very impressive for her age type. Not the, she's a pretty strong side character type. We're talking about Biju level attack potency immediately, and that's when she's just casually flexing. She has both halves of Kurama's chakra, meaning she's not just inheriting a weakened, fragmented version. She's inheriting the entire legacy of that Kurama greatness, the Kurama who died so Naruto could use Baryon mode. Himawari's walking around saying, why carry a big stick and talk softly when I can just walk around ready to throw these Bijudamas at everybody? And Kurama himself confirms something wild. Himawari has a much higher affinity for using his chakra than even Naruto did. That alone should make people pause, and if you're a Naruto Uzumaki fan, that should probably have you with tears in your eyes, both from tears from the fact that you're realizing that Himawari might actually be her, but also tears in your eyes when you realize that Naruto's baby girl is also continuing that trend of the next generation surpasses the one before them. But raw power without control, I think we all can agree that's pretty dangerous. Jiraiya knows all about that with foretells Naruto. But Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 30 also proved it. During that Mamushi encounter, Himawari nearly turned a section of Konoha into collateral damage with her Bijudama. If Shikadai doesn't step in and basically have her fired off into the air, well, that section of the village is pretty much gone. And afterwards, she got rightfully scolded, which the people getting mad that Shikadai was too aggressive. This is why I say suck it up, Buttercup. Himawari has her big girl panties on, she can take it. And it wasn't because Himawari was weak, it was because she wasn't thinking. She was a 13-year-old girl and she panicked, it happens, and that does matter. That recklessness, however, it was not a failure. You can hear it in my voice. I'm very passionate about this. I went from being somebody that was a staunch, I don't want Himawari to be a shinobi person, to I kind of like the idea now. I'm very passionate about Himawari now. So here's a thing that I don't think that enough people truly understand. Himawari being reckless doesn't mean that she's incompetent. It just means that she's early. And when you think about it, Naruto did the same thing. So I don't think that we can necessarily just dump on her and say that this was bad writing for her. And when you look at Himawari, she wasn't being reckless because of anger or ego. She was being reckless because she doesn't yet understand the weight of her own output. She's basically learning to ride a motorcycle, and the girl just learned how to ride a bike a few weeks ago. That's like the best comparison I can kind of give for you. She went from getting the training wheels taken off of a bicycle to somebody giving her a motorcycle. It's taking her a little time to adjust to all the different changes. And I think that it's very important to kind of understand that distinction, because when you go back and you look at Kurama's interactions with her, he's called her out himself, not to tear her down, but to reinforce that truth. He's like, hey, you are gifted, you're very compatible, and guess what? You're not done growing. And that really mirrors Naruto in a lot of ways, especially Naruto in the war arc, where Naruto over the span of 3 days went from struggling to use Kurama's chakra to that guy was incredibly impressive using it. And I think that what we have to look at here at Himawari, the big difference with her is that her baseline is already higher when it just comes to raw potential. And that is insane, and insane in a good way. Because we're talking about the Byakugan and the Kurama combination. That's a game changer. And that should be something that is very terrifying for you. Because there's one thing that we haven't seen her use yet, which is she has not fully combined the Byakugan with Kurama's power. She ain't even used the Byakugan in a fight yet. And when that happens, everything changes. Let's break down why that is. You have Kurama's sensory ability. Kurama basically grants near unrivaled sensory perception. If you even think about doing something evil, if you're not suppressing that intention, Kurama's going to be able to sense you. That is how Naruto could detect enemies across battlefields, through terrain, even in chaos. Even when someone like Zetsu is actively trying to hide, Naruto was able to sense Zetsu. Himawari, she inherits all of that, but she has a better compatibility based on what Kurama's telling us. That means that like the chakra detection, the emotional sensing, the presence awareness, that threat recognition, all of that has been amplified once she fully learns how to use Kurama's power. And when you pair that with the Byakugan, that makes her unstoppable. Why am I saying unstoppable? Let me repeat that. That makes her unfucking stoppable. Not unstoppable, uneffing stoppable. Why? Well, it eliminates the Byakugan's blind spot. The Hyuga clan's biggest weakness has always been their blind spot. That small, tiny gap behind the neck that is so small that the smallest of attacks from Kidomaru were just barely big enough to fit inside of that blind spot. Himawari don't have to worry about that now, because Himawari, she can now see near 360 degrees, but when you add in the chakra sensory, that blind spot is irrelevant. Even if she can't see the attack or see the person in the distance, she knows exactly where they are. And that is massive. That is a gentle fist with a Biju level output. And speaking of gentle fists, like think about it like this. You're adding gentle fists and chakra point targeting, the rotation, air palm, precision combat, and you're scaling that with Kurama's chakra, potentially scaling that with Biju Dama if she gets chakra control on the level of somebody like Naruto, where Naruto can make little small Biju Damas with his hands. If she learns to do what the Hyuga clan do, which is when using the Byakugan, they expel chakra out through every point of their body. In theory, she should be able to expel Biju Damas out from her fingertips, the way that Kushina was able to do with those chakra chains. That means targeting potential chakra points with little microscopic Biju Damas. Don't rule that out. Every strike with Himawari being amped up with Biju chakra is gonna be insane. We saw what her father could do when her father didn't even have it. Her father was able to hit the hidden Cloud Village's head shinobi, not their Kage, but their head shinobi, and kill him with one strike. We saw her father shut down entire chakra points with one attack before. Himawari should be able to do something on a much bigger scale. And I said her father, I meant her grandfather, speaking off the cuff here. But I said to say her surgical destruction, it should be immense. And that brings me to this, which is Himawari is quite literally just built differently. So I think we have to kind of take a moment to pause for a second. Kurama makes something very clear, very specific, that should not be ignored at all. Himawari carries Uzumaki blood, Hyuga clan blood, two bloodlines that are descended from both of Kaguya's children. The Uzumaki are distant relatives of the Senju clan. The Senju clan are direct relatives of Ashura, and the Hyuga clan, well, they're descendants of Hamura. That matters. The Uzumaki, well, if she inherited the traits of the Uzumaki, which it sounds like Kurama's saying she did, that means that she inherited massive chakra reserves, longevity, and physical resilience. The Hyuga clan also give her visual supremacy, that high aptitude for chakra control and combat precision. She hit the genetic lottery. Kurama explicitly says this combination gives her a higher affinity for his chakra than Naruto ever did. That is insane, but at the same time it does make sense, because like even Hagoromo tells us, Naruto didn't inherit anything from either of his parents in terms of the special traits that made them special. Sage of Six Paths is a relatively reliable narrator. He's like Ninja Jesus with a ninja encyclopedia, having watched everything that's taken place over time. Not going to go further in detail on that because I've already done a small short explaining it that will be linked down in the description box, but there's a little bit more to that. So I said to say this, Naruto, when you look at it, he needed a very long time to reach harmony with Kurama. And even after getting full control of Kurama and they're working together, when you look at what happened after the war, they continue to grow. Himawari is already ahead. She just lacks the experience. And that's the biggest thing there. She's lacking experience. That's not a bad thing. That's exactly what makes her a good character, because growing pains are necessary for an arc. That's where the narrative brilliance comes into play. Himawari, she needed to struggle. We need to see her have a goofball moment in this last chapter. She needed mistakes. She needed scolding. She needed a close call. She needed near disasters. That's the whole reason why when Jura was whooping her ass, I was saying, do it again. Go full-blown Akira Toriyama. If Toriyama could have a 4-year-old Gohan get his neck broken by Raccoon, I don't care. Have Jura break her arm. Make her suffer. Suffering builds character. Without any of these things, her growth, it isn't going to feel truly earned. Especially given the monthly format, if we just find out that like she did some off-screen training, people are going to cry BS over that. And I would like to make like a comparison to it. There's a comparison you could make with the potential for Himawari to grow extremely rapidly with Sakura. That's very important. And before someone says, why are you comparing Naruto's daughter to Sakura? Sakura is useless. I'm going to say for a second, get off of Sakura's clit for a second, take Naruto's balls out your mouth, take Sasuke's balls out your mouth as well, and allow me to explain what I mean. So with Sakura, she didn't grow in a linear fashion. Instead, Sakura grew in leaps. Sakura is very talented in chakra control. Absolutely, yes. That was established in the Land of Waves arc. That was doubled down where even Tsunade is like, I've never seen a genius of this stature before when it comes to chakra control. And obviously you got the Genjutsu skill because it was directly stated by Kakashi that she was a prodigy at Genjutsu as well. But in everything else, Sakura, from a combat perspective, she was barely gaining level. So for Tsunade to take her from barely gaining level to all of a sudden Jonin tier by the start of Naruto Shippuden, that's a massive growth leap in only 2.5 years. And then she proceeded to just continue to grow over time in leaps. And it was explained that because of what she did with the Byakugan seal, that's part of why. You went through long stretches of what seemed like stagnation, and then suddenly there were massive leaps. Once she unlocked that Byakugan seal, she didn't just stay at the level she was when she fought those Ten Tails. She continued to get power amps when you read the manga closely. I kind of feel like Himawari is being set up for a potential similar fashion. She's not going to grow every arc, but every so often when we see her, there's going to be massive bursts. And I feel like because when we look at Boruto and Kawaki, Sarada, and all these other characters operating at a absurd level of power, her growth is going to be easy to overlook. And that's intentional, but it's going to be easy to overlook. And I feel like once that happens, a lot of people are going to be crying BS and saying the power skeletons are broken. And it's not broken. It's just done in a subtle way where if you're not paying attention to it, you're going to miss it. And that kind of brings me to this, which is that she's not going to surpass Boruto, and she shouldn't. And that's not a bad thing. So it's important for me to say this clearly. Himawari does not need to surpass Boruto, and not because, oh, Boruto's the main character. Get out of here with that surface level thing. Boruto is operating in Otsutsuki territory, fate manipulation, karma mechanics, and all these other things. Himawari's role is different. Right now, she's a support character, a strong support character, but she is a support character, and she is a grounded monster. She's a shinobi that can be used to hold the line, protect the village, and be a late game anchor. Think of her character like a Sakura, or like a Tsunade, or like a Kakashi. Not the strongest, but also indispensable and somebody that serves a key role. When Himawari finally learns to restrain her output, think tactically, combine sensory skills and the Byakugan, and use Kurama's power surgically instead of just explosively, she becomes something terrifying. Not loud, not flashy, but instead extremely efficient. The kind of shinobi that could walk into a fight and end it before the enemy truly understands what happens. Think of what I'm saying the way that Itachi likes to fight. Itachi tries to end fights as quickly as possible. Think of Himawari like being a goon with a learning curve. She's not sloppy because she's weak. She's sloppy because she's early. She's a 13-year-old kid with god tier power that still is learning to use it after having just gotten the training wheels taken off. And the story is very deliberately telling us, hey, let her fail, let her make mistakes, let her get yelled at, let her get slapped around. Because when those growing pains are over, that ski mask, it ain't just coming off, it's staying on. Himawari won't just be Naruto's daughter. She'll be a problem that this new era wasn't even looking for. And that's exactly how legends get born. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and clicking here on the left. Check out more videos from Naruto Explained, or click here on the right and check out that Jujutsu Kaisen video that I was just talking about earlier.